this is the problem we're going to have talking about Hawthorn this year. Is they're hard watches. It's a I've called it. We're gonna dub it something. I think I'm gonna call it the Hawthorn headache. Right? Hawthorn are the headache of the AFL this year. So one thing I will actually talk about is I think they're a lot better than North and Eagles. Is a lot of people had them. They had them very low this year and had them definitely finishing bottom and all that. I think they're actually, they're going to be the ones that finish off the bottom. They're definitely playing a lot better than the Eagles, and they're playing a lot better brand at the moment than North. And I'll get into that in a bit because I have a lot to say about the way North's playing, especially. Yeah, I'll get into that later. But yeah, I definitely think that Hawthorn, they're actually playing a brand of footy that it's sustainable in terms of to keep them in games and to keep them they score. Like that's the thing is at the end of the day, they're scoring and they're keeping teams to relatively lower margins. There's going to be, of course, there's going to be games they're going to get absolutely thumped. They're going to come up against some teams where they're just absolutely outclassed. But in saying that, like I said, I think they're playing a good brand of footy. They've got some players in there that are very good watchers. Connor Nash, I mean, the job he did on Bont. At the end of the day, Bont won. Like we can't deny that. But Bont didn't have his best game in his 200th, and that's purely down to the work Connor Nash did on him for 4 quarters. And you got to give him some credit. They've got some good young talent in their side. But it's just going to be a lot. It's still going to be a long year. It's going to be they're going to be boring games. Hawthorn games is probably the best way to put them. I think they're just going to be the headache of the competition. That you have to grind out a win against them. You have to beat them at that. They sort of feel like they bring a lot of team down to their game, which is how teams that are rebuilding should be doing it in their best effort. Bring teams down to your level as best you can, and then just make it a slog. So Hawthorn are looking a lot better than two other teams at the moment. But the Dogs, they've just made them, like I said it last week, they've made themselves cherry ripe. Don't want to peak too early, but I tell you what, they're looking actually on track for a top 4 finish. And even potentially even higher than can't finish higher than the top 4, but you know what I mean, like finishing in the top 2 or potentially minor premiers this year. So Dogs have really turned their season around and are a really good team to watch.